just a queer lesbian couple ready for adventure. Hey, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jack.
This is day 5 of our full week vacation in Aruba.
And we're just gonna give you some tips and suggestions for traveling here. So one of the reasons Chris and I wanted to come here is because we've been doubting the authenticity of legit turquoise ocean water for some time now, because we've been to other islands and haven't seen it, but just to reaffirm, the water here is really that clear and really that turquoise and really that beautiful, and you are constantly in awe no matter how many days you've been here. It's just stunning.
So the weather here is, for the most part, perfect all the time. It seems it's out of the hurricane belt, so they don't get a lot of rain, they don't get a lot of storms. It's pretty much your ideal upper 70s, lower 80s temperature every single day. It seems most days there might be a few clouds moving through, but the weather seems to move pretty fast, and there has been sunshine, at least for the most part of the day, every day since we got here. The one element that we did experience a lot of the first few days was wind. The winds were very high. We're not sure how typical that is for this island, but it was actually kind of extreme in moments. So we both swallowed a good amount of sand probably those first couple days. The last few days have been a lot more calm winds. So I would say that's probably not the most typical, but to be prepared that it could happen every now and then. The climate here is desert-like. For the most part, there's a lot of cacti, which was surprising. I didn't really expect that. But then there's also some palm trees, and there is a low grade of humidity in the air. Definitely not intense, not like Florida humidity. So it's kind of like a nice, dry, perfect climate.
A little bit on travel expenses for getting here and making our way around the island. So Chris and I used my Chase Sapphire Preferred card. It's a travel card to get here. And I love this card because it essentially is giving you free flights. I use the card to pay my bills every month or buy groceries, and then accumulate points that I end up using for travel. Travel credit cards like the Chase card are great because it also covers insurance for car rentals, which we also got here. We paid, I believe, $214 for a full week of renting a car here, which is relatively cheap compared to, say, what you would spend in New York, where we're from, renting a car. Gas is easy here because the island is really small, so you're not driving very far to get places, so you're not using up a lot of money in gas.
Put the past away, wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. Good, got tired.
Aruba loves their traffic circles. They are everywhere. After a day or two driving around the island, it's pretty easy. Parking has been incredibly easy. The one thing I will say, we haven't gone off on a lot of dirt roads, which there are here. So some people rent specifically off-roading cars for that. We didn't get that, and we didn't really need that, but something you might think about if you're a little bit more adventurous. I know you need a certain kind of car to get to the national park, or you can go on a tour, or you can park at the beach and hike in. But yeah, if you want to do more off-roading adventurous stuff, I would suggest renting something for that specifically. Big change from New York, where we live, in California, where I'm from, in terms of honking. Nobody honks here at anybody, even if they're driving like a moron.
One thing that I would mention is that you may have heard about the wild dog issue here in Aruba. From what I've read, it's gotten a lot better over the years, but as we've been driving around the island from day one, we have run into quite a few stray dogs. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell because they'll be by someone or by someone's property and just not on a leash, and there's not a lot of fenced in properties. but definitely some of them are clearly homeless. And be careful if you're driving around that you're not going to hit them. We have not seen any of the stray dogs in the beachy, kind of more touristy areas at all. Very rare to be around Palm Beach area where all the tourism restaurants and everything are. Where we did encounter them the most was a little bit around our Airbnb here. So I would caution to be careful if you're not staying in the resort area.
On the way back from Baby Beach, we also did encounter some goats that were let out of an enclosed gated area, but I personally am a fan of goats, so I thought it was pretty dope. They're really cute.
We chose to stay in an Airbnb as opposed to a resort hotel. The total cost for 7 nights in the Airbnb that I'm sitting in right now is $385. That's divided by 2 for us since we're 2 people, and it's actually perfect for our needs. There's a little kitchen here. It's a 1-bedroom separated with a living room area on this side, and it's really close actually to the resorts and the beaches and everything we would want, because again, it is a pretty small island. So staying in an Airbnb is not far away from everything else. This compared to the resorts that we checked out online, it seems that a lot of the nicer ones with the pools and stuff run between about maybe in the low end $200 a night, all the way up to $600 or $700 a night. And honestly, not even that impressive. So in terms of queer friendliness, what should we say? I think in total, out of the 5 days we've been here, and we've been out and about on the beaches every single day.
And all over the island, not just in the resort area.
We have spotted what appeared to be I would say 3 or 4, if we don't count the flight, from New York, maybe 4 or 5 seemingly gay couples or queer couples, right? We saw some men holding hands on the beach yesterday. That was a great moment. And then some people that were questionably lesbians.
We've also been treated really well. I don't feel like we've been treated differently for being gay. I have not worried about our safety.
As a matter of fact, I think that we may have gotten some specialized attention. It has seemed like in a kind of fun, cool
Sweet
way. I think maybe people interpret us as just chill, and this is a very chill island, so maybe we fit in that regard.
I actually feel like a lot of the locals and people working in local restaurants that we've gone to have been nicer to us than even when we're in New York City. The only thing that I will say regarding safety, maybe something that's more related to more femme-presenting women. I have gotten unwanted attention by men, but no more than I would receive in the United States.
It's been about 20 people per day that have come up to us liking Jack's tattoos, so that's been a conversation starter. They're great tattoos.
Just some suggestions on things to pack. So I did pack quite a few clothes, and I haven't really needed them. I've pretty much been living in my bathing suit and a pair of shorts. In some of the hotels, or if you're going to the resorts or the casino areas, it might be a little bit cold, so I would just suggest bringing a light jacket. Some things that I would suggest bringing instead of buying here are if you have your own snorkeling gear or can get some, it's fairly cheap or inexpensive, bring that with you. Also, blow-up floaties are really awesome here, and by floaties, I don't mean the arm floaties, although if you have kids, maybe you need those, but the floaty things that you lay on in the water, and then air pump. That stuff is pretty small. You can bring it in your suitcase. It'll be cheaper than buying it here. If you're staying in the resorts, the aloe and sunscreen are really expensive. So if you're checking a bag, bring your own aloe and sunscreen. Otherwise, you're gonna end up paying $20 a bottle.
Things to do on the island. The main thing is the beach. Take it in while you're here because they are the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen. While you're at the beach, there's some activities or typical resort offerings such as jet skiing, wave running, stand-up paddleboarding, parasailing. things like that. Am I missing anything? There's snorkeling, as we mentioned before. Outside of the beach, there are some natural attractions like the park that we might actually visit tomorrow, which has a big natural pool in it. There's also off-roading, as we mentioned, and the restaurants here have been honestly very impressive, at least the ones that we've chosen. We talked to a few people locally and have had great meals. Beyond that, there is a movie theater, there's a casino, we hit that. There's actually multiple casinos in the higher end hotels, not very large, not very impressive. I'm a little bit bitter because I lost $40, but you know, fun to do for a night responsibly. There is a lighthouse on the island called California Lighthouse that attracts people, and also an island called Renaissance Island with a beach on it called Flamingo Beach. This is all owned by the Renaissance Resort. There's actually pink flamingos on the island, which you can, I guess you can't really play with them, but you can kind of take photos with them, and it's probably beautiful. I think that's about it.
Here we've been to a couple of different beaches. The first beach we went to was Palm Beach, which is near the resorts. The water is very calm there, very crystal clear turquoise. I saw fish, a bunch of different fish through it, and what I believe was an eel, maybe? I could be wrong though. It is near the resorts, so there are, you know, quite a few people out there, but when we've gone during the weekdays, it hasn't been overwhelmingly crowded. The next beach we went to was Eagle Beach, which is a really popular, famous beach that's been in a lot of different travel, top 10 best beaches in the world type articles. It was a little bit rougher than Palm Beach, but not really rough. The actual beach part was very like vast, more expansive than Palm Beach. Also just that beautiful crystal clear turquoise water. The third beach we went to was Manchego Beach. The water was definitely a little bit rougher here. If you want to do something like going boogie boarding, that would be a good beach to do it at. The fourth beach we went to was Baby Beach, and the name kind of says it all. This is a really good area to bring kids because there's a cove-like area that is sectioned off from the rougher waters of the ocean, and you can go pretty far out while still touching the bottom of like the sand on the bottom of the ocean. And there's a lot of like snorkeling happening here. You would see a lot of people looking for sea turtles, which are pretty common there, and it's just fucking beautiful.
So we've learned that the main local languages here are Papiamento and Dutch. I hope I'm saying the first one correctly. But we've also learned that most locals speak about 4 languages, probably including English and Spanish. And that's what we've encountered a lot of, that most locals do seem to speak English. There's been a few that didn't, but totally manageable when you're just navigating around the main like touristy areas. Before we got here, based on some things I read online and some people that I talked to who had been here, I was a little afraid at how much the cost of food was going to be, how much the cost of alcohol was going to be. As it turns out, not bad. The restaurants that we went to were completely reasonable, actually cheaper than New York prices for their food and their drinks, and very good as well. When we got here, we stopped at the duty-free liquor store in the airport. I almost bought like 2 big bottles of alcohol, thinking that that was our only chance for reasonably priced alcohol. I'm so glad that we only got 1 instead of 2 because it turns out not so pricey. So at the beginning of our stay here, we went to the Superfood. It's a huge grocery store on the island, probably the biggest, and we stocked up for the week. So although we've been going out every so often while being here, it was nice to just have groceries for the full week. The groceries were comparable to what we would pay back home, and it's really made it easy for just when like we want a snack or just want to stay in and cook dinner or make sandwiches for the beach and stuff. There are so many restaurants here, many of which seem to be pretty good unless we just got lucky. Obviously, just being here for a week, we haven't had the chance or the budget to try out like many. But the ones that we have, actually, we've liked a lot.
I think we would both agree that our favorite place has been local store. It's moderately priced. The people that work there are super nice. The drinks get you pretty tipsy. They have this like local food appetizer dish that's like often in place of French fries. It's called funchi fries, and it's deep fried polenta with Gouda cheese on top, and they serve it often with sriracha mayo. It's really good.
Really good. It's kind of Americanized food there, and we had like $8 margaritas, really delicious hamburgers, like the best, exactly my kind of hamburger.
They put goat cheese on that shit, which we like.
Another great place that we enjoyed is called Craft. It's a breakfasty brunch spot, but then it also transforms into a bar at night. We haven't gone for the
bar and taco place.
Oh, okay. So they had like absolutely amazing breakfast tacos.
So good.
Belgian waffle, which was really the best waffle I ever had. And really fruity, fresh drinks and lemonades and teas, just like super.
Acai bowls, if that's actually how you pronounce that word.
So definitely the Craft.
Thinking about witchcraft?
Yes.
It's vegetarian friendly.
One other spot that we really loved is called either Bugalo or Boogaloo Bar, or restaurant, and it was right off of Palm Beach onto the pier, so you're actually like surrounded by water, which was really cool.
You can see some fish.
Yes, you can see some fish. They serve drinks, beer, food,
frozen drinks.
Yep, frozen ones too. Those are the 3 places we returned to them all more than once.
Also in Muertos is where we're gonna go right now, which is it's like a vegetarian friendly beach shack stand that also serves fruit bowls and such.
They look like super well reviewed, so I doubt we'll be disappointed. One other spot that I'm sorry, I'm shouting. Okay, ready? One other spot that we enjoyed a whole lot. I'm done. It's over. Okay, last one, I got it. I didn't need to rhyme. It would be helpful if I wasn't Dr. Seuss. Okay.